That way it would guide me.
Yeah, so you rely only on antral follicular count if the count is within normal range. That will assess that the ovarian reserve is normal. Then you won't do any lab test to support it. Not only AMH, FSH, estradiol. What is the role of all these tests?
Um, Fine. FSH LH is definitely necessary to be seen as a ratio, as I mentioned earlier, to decide the protocol of my stimulation, to decide whether they require a prior suppression. Any regular cycle, ovulating cycle, yes, I would not do FSH LH as a primary test because she is regularly ovulating and getting her cycles like that. E2 value has got an importance as in whether the suppression is complete, and the follow-up values are to see whether it is correlating with my follicular stimulation and the endometrium is growing in accordance with that. If only the follicle is growing and my endometrium is not growing, then again there is a problem. I have to differentiate whether the follicle is problematic or the endometrium is problematic. So to label any woman that you have an endometrial problem, I have to know the estrogen value at that point of time when the follicle has reached 17 millimeter but endometrium is only 4. So that point of time during stimulation, I'll send E2. I'll see that value is more than 150. So I can point at the endometrium saying that the end organ problem is there. And I would work out for her on the endometrial problem. So that would be the importance for me of estrogen correlation also.
Yeah, because literature says that any value of basal estradiol less than 20 and more than 80 picogram per ml is indicative of poor ovarian reserve. So is it your experience as well?
Sure, it's true.
Yeah. So antral follicular count, as she has mentioned, it is the added count of total number of follicles in both the ovaries, and which is nowadays becoming popular as a ovarian reserve test. So let us come to AMH, which is molecule of interest at the moment. It is used to predict both poor and hyper response in IVF setting. It belongs to transforming growth factor beta family, which is involved in cell regulation. It is actually a dimer of 140 kilodalton molecular weight, but it has two monomers, that is pro region and mature region. These two monomers are important because assays are designed epitopes are these epitopes are taken into consideration while designing the assay. So first laboratory assay of AMH got developed in late in 1990. After that, first generation assays came by Diagnostic System Laboratories and Immunotech Beckman Coulter IoT. After a decade, Beckman Coulter launched a more better form of AMH assay, that is Gen 2 assay, using two monoclonal antibodies. The only problem with this assay is that AMH values with these assays were higher than those with the old assays, that is than those with the first generation assays. This was bring up by Kumar et al. And Wallace in 2010 and 2011. By that time, recently in 2013, Beckman Coulter again launched a CMIA technique, and which might prove a robust platform in future. We have also used Beckman Coulter Gen 2 assay for initial few months, but then when Ansh AMH kit was launched, for better performances we shifted to AMH Ansh Lab kit. But while shifting from one kit to another, we have to always do method validation. It is mandatory as per as ISO 15189 that not only we do method validation, but we inform our clinician, our patients, that our prior kit was this and we are now using this another kit which we have to validate. So for any method validation, after running calibration and control, we have to see precision. The test has to be precise. For this precision, we have to run sample 10 times, same sample 10 times, and take percentage CV of the same. In this case, our percentage CV is 5.56. Since AMH is a recently developed assay, rather than recently developed, it is evolving assay. No clear-cut CLIA guidelines available for acceptable ranges of CV. So at the moment, I really don't know whether I'm going with the correct CV or not. But considering all other hormonal assays CV, which is usually around 10%, this seems to be quite acceptable. After that, we did stability check for the samples at room temperature and as well as at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius temperature. And as you can see here, that sample which were stored at room temperature has given higher value, though some of them are clinically significant. Most of them are discordant. So here comes cold chain issue. When I am receiving as a tertiary lab or any tertiary lab, when receiving sample across the country or from outstation, then maintenance of cold chain is at most important while interpreting this assay. So whenever somebody send us a sample from distant with cold chain maintenance, and if the results do not match, then it is necessary of that clinician or pathologist to call us back to discuss the things so that we can do the repeat testing on fresh sample and see for the clinical correlation. We have also done reproducibility testing on written sample testing, and we can see that this is very well within acceptable range. We have also done comparison with existing AMH Gene 2 kit prior to shifting with AMH Ansh lab kit. And we can see that though newer technique results showed higher values, they were better correlating with the clinical and USG finding. Since there are no EQUAS program available for this AMH assay, we have done inter-laboratory comparison with another lab which is using the same platform, and you can see the results are quite comparable. This is just to show data of last 1 year, almost 2,500 patients we have studied, out of which most of them fall, that is 80% fall within the normal reference range of AMH. In spite of doing all these method validation, we kept getting queries about reference ranges and unexpected AMH report, or your AMH report is not matching with our antral follicular count or clinical scenario. So what is your experience, Dr. Ingray, about this?
Very few times we have seen that the values of AMH are not correlating. That is, the follicular count we are seeing is 4 or 5 and we are getting the value of 3.4. But let me tell you, I have done the pickup of such 3 patients, and in spite of having AMH value of 3.6, 3.4 in these patients, I did not get any embryos in them to be transferred.
Yeah.
So that I would still believe that the sonographical antral follicular count is the thing I should stick to. This would take little while, and everybody has to take efforts to gather the information and keep doing this study so that we will come to one conclusion about this interpretation.